Now that the NFL regular season is finished and we got to see a few of the playoff teams in action, let's take a look at how each team stands up against one another and who will win the 2024 Super Bowl. We got the 1 seeds that got a bye last weekend in the Baltimore Ravens and San Francisco 49ers, the former Super Bowl champs Kansas City Chiefs, 2 super young teams in the Houston Texans and Green Bay Packers, and 2 teams with underdog stories in the Buffalo Bills and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. First, let's take a look at one of the number 1 seeds, the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers were looking like the team to beat during the season, having dominant wins over the Eagles, Cowboys, and Buccaneers, all playoff teams this year. Led by MVP candidate and quarterback Brock Purdy, the 49ers have a loaded roster consisting of 9 Pro Bowlers this year, not including their star wide receivers Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. This team arguably have the best position groups in all of football. They have the best running back in Christian McCaffrey, the best pass catcher group in Ayuk, Samuel, and Kittle, the best offensive line led by the greatest left tackle ever in Trent Williams, the best defensive line led by Nick Bosa, the best linebackers led by Fred Warner, a great secondary to follow, and an amazing coach to put it all together. I just named everything that has to do with the football team, and the 49ers are the best at almost all of those things. I expect the 49ers to at least make a deep run in these playoffs. Now let's talk about the other number 1 seed, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. Led by the MVP favorite Lamar Jackson, nobody expected them to be this good in the beginning of the season. However, they've exceeded expectations, having the best record in the league and beating the who's who this season. They beat the other number 1 seed in the 49ers by 2 touchdowns, spanked on the electric Miami Dolphins offense by 37, and destroyed the Detroit Lions by 32. They haven't shied away from these teams, making them extremely dangerous in the playoffs. Awesome defense, offense led by the MVP favorite, and a head coach with championship experience in John Harbaugh. Don't be surprised to see this team in the Super Bowl this year. Just like the Baltimore Ravens, the Detroit Lions weren't expected to do anything special this season either. Who seemed to be a mid-tier quarterback in Jared Goff, what seemed to be a terrible draft at first when drafting Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta, and no notable additions on defense, everybody thought they were looking at another 9-8 season. But as Coach Dan Campbell would have it, he took his team to a 12-5 record and the 3rd seed in the NFC, beating the Los Angeles Rams in the first round. What we saw out of them this past weekend was the same as the regular season. The aggressive play style that fills their team with excitement and intensity. What we've also seen is key players turn into stars. Amon-Ra St. Brown has proved to be one of the best receivers in the entire league. Jared Goff proved he could still play at a high level, throwing for the 2nd most passing yards this season. And rookies Laporta and Gibbs showed they are soon to be stars in this league, if they haven't proved it already. What makes this team so good is how effective their offense is. Whether they run the ball or pass, they're going to slowly march down the field and score no matter what. Be sure to keep your eye out for this team. For a team that could have been eliminated in Week 18, the Buffalo Bills made an insane jump from the 6th seed to the 2 seed after beating the Miami Dolphins. For a team that has been very dominant these past few seasons, this season was kind of different. They didn't look like the same dominant offense as previous years, but after firing their offensive coordinator, they won 6 or 7 games and started dominating teams, including the Chiefs, Cowboys, and Dolphins. Josh Allen had the most total touchdowns this season, while we saw the birth of a new aspect of their offense due to their running back James Cook. Now with a more balanced offense and solid defense, we might see a run out of these new-look Bills. Usually when you're talking about the reigning champs once again in the playoffs, you're talking about the favorites to win it again. However, the Kansas City Chiefs this year have been slightly disappointing, holding a number 3 seed at 11-6. The reigning MVP Patrick Mahomes hasn't been as dominant as he has been in the past years, as their pass catchers this year have had a ridiculously 33 drop passes, the most by any team. Defenses are keyed on the Mahomes-Kelsey connection, so their offense hasn't been as potent as previous seasons. What puts them in this situation, however, has been their outstanding defense, having the 2nd best defense in the league behind the Cleveland Browns. Although teams aren't scared of this team yet, we're still talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, the team that's made the Super Bowl 3 out of the past 4 years, a team that still has Pat Mahomes and Coach Andy Reid, and now a defense that's been incredible. I can't wait to see what they do for the rest of the postseason. After being the 2nd worst team in the league last year, the Houston Texans put all their chips into one basket, using the 2nd and 3rd overall picks in this last year's draft to pick quarterback CJ Stroud and edge rusher Will Anderson. Texans fans rejoiced as this looked like the beginning of a new era, hiring DeMeco Ryans as the head coach. But little did we know, that new era might start earlier than we think. CJ Stroud has been unbelievable this season, being one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Having a defensive-minded head coach turned this defense into a monster last weekend, scoring 2 interceptions taken for touchdowns. A career year for Nico Collins, Jonathan Greenard, and Brian Cashman, and this team has been incredible this year, winning the AFC South. What makes this team so great is their embrace of culture. They understand they're young and inexperienced, but they've taken this team to new heights, creating something for themselves with credit to Stroud. Let's see if they can continue their Cinderella run this postseason and cause some more upsets. Now this one's a weird one, as they came in as the number 7 seed this year, barely making the playoffs. The Green Bay Packers weren't looking too good in the beginning of the season, as they've suffered with many injuries to their key offensive players. Star running back Aaron Jones only played 11 games this season, and who was supposed to be their number 1 wide receiver this season, and Christian Watson, only played 9 games. As well as this is Jordan Love's first year as a starter since the departure of Aaron Rodgers. However, they came out this weekend and absolutely destroyed the number 2 seeded Dallas Cowboys, beating them 48-32. Jordan Love proved he can be the future of this Packers franchise, following in the footsteps of Brett Favre and Rodgers. With this, he also has a young receivers group, consisting of only first and second year players that have been incredible. Then we come to the defense, with arguably the best cornerback in the game in Jair Alexander, and a solid supporting cast consisting of Rashad Gary, Quay Walker, Preston Smith, and many more. Seeing what this team did to the Cowboys last week, they have a shot at doing something unbelievable this season. After Tom Brady retired, Buccaneers fans wondered who was going to be the quarterback next season. Were they going to draft and develop one, sign or trade for one, or use one of the existing quarterbacks on the roster? Enter Baker Mayfield. Going on his 4th team in 3 years, Baker's completely turned the culture of this team around. He led this team to an NFC South title, being the most pass-heavy offense in the league. Having playmakers like Mike Evans, Rachaad White, and Chris Godwin really helped keep this team at the same tier as when they were with Brady the last couple years. Pair this with outstanding defense led by Antoine Winfield and Levante David, you have a serious contender in these playoffs. The only knock on them is their rush offense was the worst in the league. So if their pass game is not working, then it'll be a long night for them. Now that we've analyzed each team, let me tell you how I think these playoffs go. For the first round, I got the Ravens beating the Texans, Chiefs beating the Bills, 49ers beating the Packers, and Lions beating the Buccaneers. Then, I got the Chiefs beating the Ravens and 49ers beating the Lions, giving us a rematch of the 2020 Super Bowl. Although they are both great teams, I think the 49ers come away with their first Super Bowl since 1995. Their team is so well put together that even if the team stopped one aspect of their team, they have another couple to fall back on. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. All that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.